Did you know that by the time most men reach their 40s, their nitric oxide levels have dropped by nearly 50% compared to their 20s? That's not a small number. It's a huge decline in something that silently affects your energy, your blood flow, your cardiovascular health, and yes, your sexual performance. So naturally, a lot of companies have rushed in with a solution: nitric oxide supplements. One of the most talked about right now is something called Nitric Boost. Now, you've probably seen the claims: boost energy, improve performance, enhance endurance, support male health. Sounds pretty good. But the question I get all the time is, does it actually work? And maybe more importantly, is it even safe to take something like this long term? Let's take a deeper look, not from the angle of hype or marketing, but from the perspective of biology, research, and real-world feedback. So what is Nitric Boost, really? At its core, it's a blend of amino acids, plant extracts, and nitrates designed to increase the amount of nitric oxide your body naturally produces. Nitric oxide is what allows your blood vessels to dilate, which improves circulation. Think of it like widening the lanes on a highway. Traffic flows better, faster, more efficiently. The same thing happens inside your arteries. And when that happens, more oxygen and nutrients get delivered where they're needed, to your muscles, your brain, your heart, and yes, down there as well. So the theory behind Nitric Boost makes sense. The question is, does it do what it says on the label? Let's start with the ingredients. L-arginine is one of the primary ones. It's an amino acid your body uses to make nitric oxide. It's been studied for years. Some studies show clear improvements in blood flow and endothelial function, particularly in people who are deficient or older. Others show more modest results, and that's often because of how it's absorbed. That's why Nitric Boost also includes L-citrulline, another amino acid that actually converts into arginine in the kidneys, and often leads to more sustained nitric oxide production. It's a smart pairing. Then there's beetroot powder, rich in dietary nitrates. Your body converts these nitrates into nitric oxide through a different pathway, one that complements the amino acids. This dual pathway approach is important. It helps maintain nitric oxide production through different mechanisms, which can be especially beneficial as we age and certain pathways become less efficient. There's also ginseng, which has traditionally been used to support energy and endurance, and ingredients like horny goat weed, which is commonly marketed for libido, but also has some vasodilatory effects. You'll find ginkgo biloba as well, often associated with cognitive function, but it also supports circulation. Now, does this mean that taking Nitric Boost will instantly supercharge your body? Not quite. Supplements like this don't work overnight. In fact, one of the most common misconceptions is that you'll feel something dramatic within the first 24 hours. For some people, sure, there may be a noticeable increase in energy or pump during workouts within a few days, but for most, it takes at least 2 to 3 weeks of consistent use to feel the real difference, especially if you're starting from a place of low baseline nitric oxide. So what kind of results are people actually seeing? That depends a lot on lifestyle. If someone's sleeping poorly, not exercising, eating high-sugar, inflammatory foods every day, no supplement is going to override that. But for people who are already trying to move their body, eat relatively clean, and stay hydrated, the feedback has been fairly positive. Many report better stamina, clearer mental focus, less afternoon fatigue, and even improved performance in the bedroom. There's also a lot of gym-focused users who talk about improved vascularity and better muscle pumps. That's not surprising. Better blood flow equals better delivery of nutrients to your muscles. But again, it's not magic. It's support. But let's be honest, not everyone sees results. And that brings us to an important question. Why doesn't it work for everyone? The truth is, nitric oxide production is only one piece of a much bigger puzzle. You can take all the arginine and beetroot in the world, but if your body is inflamed, your insulin is spiking constantly, or your gut microbiome is out of balance, nitric oxide synthesis might still be impaired. This is why you always have to look at supplements like Nitric Boost as a tool, not a fix-all. Another issue is dosage. Most of the research on arginine and citrulline uses fairly high doses, often higher than what you'll find in a single daily scoop of a typical supplement. That's not necessarily a red flag, but it means that if someone takes one scoop every few days and expects miracles, they're going to be disappointed. There's also the matter of expectations. If someone is expecting the supplement to fix years of fatigue, poor diet, and stress, that's unrealistic. But if they're looking for support in combination with healthy habits, it becomes much more reasonable. I always tell patients, supplements work best when you don't depend on them to do all the work. Now, what about side effects? Most people tolerate Nitric Boost pretty well because it's made from natural ingredients your body already recognizes. But that doesn't mean side effects are impossible. Some people might experience mild digestive discomfort, bloating, gas, maybe a bit of loose stool, especially when they're new to amino acids like citrulline. Others might get a bit of lightheadedness, especially if they already have low blood pressure. That makes sense. Nitric oxide lowers blood pressure, so if yours is already on the low end, the drop could make you feel dizzy. It's rare, but worth noting. What I like about Nitric Boost is that it's stimulant-free. There's no caffeine, no yohimbe, nothing that artificially revs your system up. That's a big plus, especially for people who are sensitive or who want something they can take later in the day without it messing with sleep. So where does this leave us? If you're a relatively healthy adult looking to support blood flow, performance, and energy naturally, and you understand that supplements take time and consistency, then yes, Nitric Boost may be a worthwhile addition to your regimen. But if you're expecting a life-changing result in 48 hours, you're probably going to feel let down. Like with most things in health, the truth sits in the middle. This isn't a scam, but it's also not a miracle. It's a formula built on ingredients that make biological sense, backed by some research, and supported by decent user feedback, with the usual caveats: dosage, consistency, and lifestyle matter. If you're considering trying it, I'd suggest keeping a journal. Track how you feel, energy levels, workout recovery, mental focus, libido, over the course of 2 to 4 weeks. Don't rely on memory. Be honest with yourself. And as always, check with your doctor, especially if you're on blood pressure medication or have cardiovascular issues. If you want to dive deeper into the ingredients, I've included some clinical references and product information in the description below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, feel free to subscribe or share it with someone who's been wondering the same thing. Your health is your responsibility. You don't need hype, you need clarity. Hopefully, this helped you get a little closer to that. Take care.